Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD45.
We are in our 70s with episode 71 of the DOD45 Show, and our guest this week joins us from all the way over in England. It ain't Benny Hill, it ain't Hyacinth Bouquet, it's someone far more enjoyable. It's the lovely Buddy Peace. Buddy is the in-house DJ for Strange Famous Records, a megamix finger drumming phenom, and we are buzzing we had the chance to have a chat with him. We get into his music and even get a glimpse of his process in creating his Miles Davis megamix, Sons of Bitches, a complete dismantling and reconfiguring of the albums Bitches, Brew, and On the Corner in the style of Buddy, which results in a phenomenal audible experience. We also play out a scenario of potential actors to play roles in the Buddy Peace biopic. Will it be Nick Nolte or Nick Cage to play Father Peace? Will it be Nick Frost or Nick Offerman to play Scroobius Pip? And who will get the honor of playing Buddy, Tom Hiddleston or Tom Hardy? Sure, that all seems quite maddening, but as always, the DOD45 format allows for that madness to veer into deeper conversations. Kinds of conversations that I won't give up in this 1-minute promo, but something I can share is that Sage Francis pops in to ask about a 2019 Buddy Peace post that actually has the word chillax in it. Other names and topics to come up in this episode are Ron Perlman, Tom Waits, themselves, L7, Giant Haystacks, Rob Zombie, Neil Breen, Piers Morgan, Buddy Holly, Leonard Skinnard, The Nuge, The Mighty Booge, Cecil Otter, Married with Children, and yes, of course, The Young Ones. We even go on about Francis Ford Coppola's criminally overlooked film, The Conversation. And hey, I'm a dork for smashing beats and British panel shows like 8 out of 10 Cats and Taskmaster, and having someone on our show who encompasses the skills to provide said smash beats and also produces a podcast that has had many of my favorite from said panel shows as guests was an exciting prospect, and Buddy does not disappoint. He's an absolute pleasure of a guest, and you're gonna see that soon. So shake off the umbrella, pop on the kettle, toss in a tea bag, turn off all emotions, and let's get cracking on this episode 71 of the DOD45 Show with Buddy Peace. Peace.
DOD45.
Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to another episode of the DOD45 Show. We're very happy that you're joining us today because we've got a really good guest. Today, our guest is Buddy Peace from London, England. I was going to attempt to do an accent there, but I'm not very good at accents. He'll be our first guest from the UK, which may not... Huh?
Like peace?
Buddy Peace, yes. Not a piece of tinfoil or aluminium. Not a piece of aluminium, as they would say. But he'll be our first guest from the UK. That might not be in his benefit because he's likely to get all of my Brit questions in one episode. So anyway, I'm real excited to have him on because he does produce a podcast that's had on every single British comedian that I'm a huge dork for. Alex Horn, James Acaster, Fern Brady, Sarah Pascoe, Catherine Ryan, Guz Khan, Tim Key, Russell Howard, and Jimmy Carr, who we will be seeing in Chicago at the Chicago Theater this month. And I'll stop there because we could go on for days. But those are all people that have been on a show that that Buddy Peace produces on a podcast that he produces. So that's exciting. I was going to mention where my affinity for British comedy comes from because, I'm a huge dork for it. My parents used to watch the Benny Hill Show all the time. I don't know why it was on, but it was always on. Did you ever see the Benny Hill Show?
No, I only know the song.
How does it go?
I don't know.
That's the circus one. But now that you've done that, I don't know if I can do the Benny Hill song now. It goes. Oh shit! Now.
The only one I used to watch was the one with Hyacinth Bouquet, Keeping Up Appearances, maybe. And then there was one on after that where these old ladies worked in a department store.
Oh, shit. I just left my brain.
I didn't like that one as much.
Yeah.
But it came on right after, and I'd watch that a little bit.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember what that one's called. Well, yeah, so like I said, the Benny Hill was on all the time. I think it would come on like on PBS or something. I can't remember what channel it came on over here in the States. But long before MTV had picked up the show, I discovered the TV show The Young Ones, which is a British comedy show.
Once in every lifetime comes a love like this. Oh, I need you, you need me. Oh, my darling, can't you see? Young ones, darling, we're the young ones.
But I learned about that through my other family, the Watts family. The oldest sister in that family, Angie, she got a VHS tape of The Young Ones from somewhere. I don't know where. And so we watched it all the time, and I loved it. And I believe it's only 2 seasons. They only did 2 seasons. But anyway, I have a picture of me as Vivian from when I was in the 5th grade for Halloween that year. I remember putting together the costume with my mom because he has a Levi jacket and it says Very Metal on the back, and he's got orange mohawk and these 4 stars like on his forehead. Correct me if I'm wrong, but now if you were making a costume now, you could just like order it on Amazon, or you can pretty much find anything you want. But I remember we like drove all over town trying to find these like little stars to glue on my forehead. On my forehead, these 4 stars on my forehead.
That explains a lot.
My tendency to drive all over town to find something that I want.
Find like some tiny little thing.
Yeah, well, you'll see the picture. I look just like Vivian.
I never did that. On my dad's side, at his grandma's house, she had a trunk that you could go through all these Halloween costumes. But normally, at my mom's house for like the Halloween parade, we'd just go to Kmart, and they would have like this, basically a plastic apron that was your costume with the plastic mask. And it was, you could be a Smurf or a Care Bear or whatever character.
Yeah.
It was very basic.
Well,
do you remember? It was just like like that tablecloth.
Yes. Yeah.
And you just tie it in the back.
Yeah.
And then you're just walking around in a big piece of plastic.
Yeah.
That's basically what I was every year, except for if I happened to be at that grandma's for a party.
Why would your grandma give you a different costume or something?
No, they would just have a trunk.
Oh, that you could go
through. And then
through.
my cousins,
Yeah.
I had a bunch of, older cousins on that side who would be like, oh, you've got long hair. You should be Pippi Longstocking. We'll put like hangers in your hair and do a thing.
People chose yours? Oh, I loved Halloween.
I didn't ever like stuff. I still don't like stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Never liked stuff.
Jeez. Yeah, me and our kids, well, me and mostly our daughter, love Halloween. I love Halloween. I love getting like dressed up. I love all that stuff. Anyway, it is almost Halloween, by the way. This episode is premiering on October 25th, so we're pretty damn close to Halloween.
Is this our Halloween episode then?
No, we're gonna have one though. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Can't be the Halloween episode though because it's not prepped for it. But
I think this is it.
Okay. Well, happy Halloween, everyone. If it's not, if it is. I'll continue with this real quick about the British comedy. And so our last family trip to the UK, what year was that? Do you remember?
2017.
So yeah, 2017, me and Adrian and the kids went to the UK. We started in Denmark because I was delivering a painting to a guy named Gert, the one-armed man who owns a really cool beer, well, what do you call it?
Beer bottling place.
It was a place that they sold craft beers. That's not that common in Denmark. Anyway, so we flew into Denmark to deliver this painting, stayed there for a couple days, then we went to the UK. And we spent maybe a month or something like that, driving around. And we were traveling in the UK. We needed to be somewhere the next day. And on some crazy, it was like one of those once in a 20-year
Are you talking about a snowstorm? Oh.
Yeah, there was a major snowstorm.
Well, what was happening is we were on our way to leave England.
Yeah.
And we needed to be at our next Airbnb that was a little bit closer to London, a little bit closer to the Channel.
Yeah. And so we were going over this. It was I guess you'd call it an overpass.
We were coming from Scotland.
Oh, we were coming from Scotland. Yes,
Going
thank
down
you.
south.
And so but there was a major snowstorm, and we were in a rental car with shit tires. So we started going up. This snowstorm was crazy, and we got into this. There was this hill, and there was like wind drift of snow, and there was a pile up of diesels, but we didn't know that up top, and we were just spinning out, and the cars were lined up, and I was a total white knuckle situation, and I didn't think we were gonna die, but it was a very concerning trip. We were on that mountainside for probably about 6 hours, right?
Yeah, us and everybody else ahead of us and behind us.
Yeah, just a line of cars
really
for 6
sucked.
hours in a massive snowstorm.
The GPS, I think, was trying to cut us over a pass, like a mountainous pass.
Yeah.
But it just so happened to be snowing.
Right, I'm not over-exaggerating that. We were on that mountainside for about 6 hours,
least,
right?
yeah.
It started in the daytime, and then all of a sudden it was nightfall. And
But it was also winter.
Yeah, it was winter, but it was but there was nowhere to turn around. And I didn't know we needed to turn around because, there was no information. But then like a couple of miles up ahead, there were like a diesel slid off the road, cars slid all over the place, and there was one little place to flip a U-turn. So we weren't even going to get to our destination. We were only going to get to the flip around and drive back down through a snowstorm. With tires that were shit, and we were sliding all over the place.
It wasn't just the tires; it was a front. It was just a crappy car.
Drive. It was a shitty car with no snow tires.
It wasn't a winter.
No, it was awful.
Car.
So finally, we got up to the top of not the top of the hill, not even at the summit, but before where cars had to turn around because diesels were piled up, and we were driving back down, and it was probably what time? What do you say, midnight or something by that time?
Yeah, it was late.
And we were hours from where we needed to be. And so Adrian just booked an Airbnb somewhere in some small town in the UK.
No, we passed an inn, and we
that's
just went in to see if they had a room. I canceled our Airbnb.
Yeah, we passed an inn, an INN. And it was just incredibly stressful. And so we get into this inn, and it's just been a long, crazy day, and I just turn on the TV, and this is when I discover 8 out of 10 Cats and Jimmy Carr. And for some reason on Channel 4, there was a marathon of them. And so I just watched hours and hours and hours of it to bring me down from this stressful craziness. And so I guess for hours I watched it, like into the morning. And I guess my point is that British comedy is like my comfort zone. And so I watch it all the time. All the panel shows, I love it. If I'm stressed out, I just turn it on, and I feel normal. I feel good again. And I think it has to do with those 3 things. Took me a long time to get there, but there you go. Hey, in March...
Does it matter that you didn't discover them there? We discovered them in Wales at our first trip because we had been in France and everywhere that didn't speak English or have English television. And then when we got to Wales, we were like, oh, thank God there's some TV.
English? Yeah. Oh, TV. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
And then we discovered it there.
Yeah, I discovered it in that cool Airbnb that had the slanted roof where you would hit your head. Mm-hmm. That was the first time we turned on the TV, and I discovered 8 out of 10 Cats.
Yeah.
So I knew what it was.
It's just very different than American television.
Yeah, it really is. And then when we ended up in that inn, it was on more. And so I think I was looking for it. I was like, I need something.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, it was.
And the next day was Mother's Day.
Was it?
Lo and behold, not American Mother's Day.
Oh, really?
They have a different Mother's Day. So we're like, oh, cool. Let's get brunch. We didn't die. The roads are clear.
Yeah, and I didn't think we were gonna die, but I wasn't too far. It was one of those situations that felt like, how are we ever gonna get out of this? And but we've been in a lot of those because we travel a lot. We live on the road.
No, it really, really sucked. I remember just being like, let's just pull off the side of the road and sleep here tonight. It's fine. They'll clean the roads. They'll get to the roads. Let's not try to go up anymore.
And the snowdrift was so bad that even when it stopped snowing And even though cars were like tracking out the snow in front of us, it was getting worse and worse because the snow drift was blowing more feet of snow onto the road.
I remember I had to pee so bad. And I was just like, you know what?
Everyone started doing it. You just
Whatever.
get out. You were stuck
You're
on
going to see my butt back there. Sorry, people.
Yeah, you're stuck on the hill. Everyone just get out and you got to pee. I mean, that's kind of what happens in a car pile up. Anyway, okay. Well, I was going to say this too. I was looking at the calendar last night for scheduling for the DOD45 scheduling, and I got bummed out because, like I said, this episode's airing on October 25th, and I can't believe how fast time's going and the months are going and the days are going. It's fucking crazy. Hey, real quick before I go into before I talk about our guest Buddy Peace and things that he's worked on. Did you see that 4.5 billion year old rock landed in Utah?
Oh yeah, they brought it down, right?
Yeah.
Over in Dugway.
Yeah.
They dropped it.
I think it was a sample taken from the asteroid called Bennu. Bennu.
I am really glad that Buddy Peace had to reschedule. We were gonna have him on a little bit earlier, and we had to reschedule him. And the day before, I got stung by a bee on my jaw.
That's right.
And the next day, the day we were supposed to be talking to him, my whole jaw was completely swollen down half my neck. I still have the little bump there, but I couldn't have come on. It was so I looked like the lady from The Witcher. It was
gnarly. Are you going to let me show a picture of it?
I don't have
Oh, you never took a picture of your... Oh.
No.
Well, so Adrian
No need to remember that.
Adrian has beehives, so she was working on the beehives.
And apparently I'm a little bit extra allergic. Actually, I wasn't working on the beehive. I was just spreading some mulch, and I probably got too close. I had just moved the hive.
Oh, okay. But the bees were... agitated already because you were working on
and I just got the one, but it was enough that
it was crazy. It was like she was like Apollo.
It was like I was in a horror movie, and if you slit my face a little, a bunch of ants or something would crawl out. It was like gigantic.
Huh.
That was gross.
Yeah, it wasn't gross. It was crazy.
So I'm sorry that he had a situation where he had to reschedule, but I'm really grateful.
Yeah, it works out. Everything will work out. Just like the being stuck on the mountainside. It's best to always try to find something works out. I don't know. Well, I'll skip over that. But you know that asteroid's supposed to hit the Earth in 159 years?
No, I don't.
Yeah. It could possibly. Which would be and the asteroid's the size of the Empire State Building. So it could be the impact of 22 atomic bombs.
Well, they're learning to push those out of the way.
Well, and that's why they got the sample of it to figure it out. Oh. I'll do a movie share real quick. The movie is The Ghost Who Walks. And it's a redemption movie. It's about a guy who gets out of prison for serving time for not being a snitch. And it's kind of like that. And then the gang boss... is trying to get him or something, and he wants to just reunite with his family. He's got a kid, and it's not the thickest plot, and it's not a masterpiece, but it is well done, and it's an interesting kind of revenge redemption action flick with quality performances. So check that one out because I really like it. It's not one of those popular ones, and that's mostly what I'm going to do with my movie shares: is share ones that aren't super popular but are worth giving it a watch. My song share is a song called Bug Powder Dust by the Mysterons.
Blurry light illumes the aisles and tiles of jade where burning rains exhale, maggots settled in dozens, mosquitoes in moldy decay, centipedes immune to bleed.
That's a cool little jam. And then my quote share for today is, I got expensive taste, so I value mine. Do you know who that is, Adrian?
No.
That was Blacklick. He said that to us at the Strange Famous Fest. I thought that's a cool quote. Do you want to do a song share, or you want me to just go right into Buddy Peace's guest? Okay, here's an intro. Buddy Peace, aka Nick Bud. He's the in-house resident remix, scratch, and mixtape DJ for Strange Famous Records. So I'm gonna rattle off some of his projects in no particular order because I just want you to check some of these out. He did these things about 11 years ago called the Bag Lunch Sessions. And he'd just like pop in anywhere in the city or in the wherever, just set up and then do a beat. And
is that why they
YouTube
call
videos,
them in England bag lunch instead of sack lunch?
Probably, because that's what he calls these. Their the bag lunch sessions. And like I said, they are 11 years old. But if you go to his YouTube, you can watch those. They're cool. Like he just like sits down on the sidewalk in the city and just starts, putting out a beat. It's pretty awesome. He also does these Tom Waits remixes, 8-bit. They're 8-bit Tom Waits, so they sound like old Nintendo. Or more like old Atari games.
What does it 8-bit mean?
8-bit is the chip size for a computer. So like Minecraft was kind of that 8-bit graphics, very simple graphics because it's only 8-bit. And then Nintendo 64, that's a 64-bit, so that's 8 times an 8-bit. When you see the graphic difference from there, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So 8-bit is kind of like
culture
Atari. Anyway, so he does some of Tom Waits songs, and it's cool. You can, if you know Tom Waits music, you can hear them in the 8-bit tracks. Check out the song "Go Green."
I drive my car, pollute the earth. What came first? God of the universe. My commute to work is an hour's drive's worth. The carbon dioxide, the darken up our skies. I look in my rear view, watching the flowers die. This is our lives. A pride, follow the dollar signs. How we survive, what we've been taught. This word is no longer our most valuable resource.
I love this song. Check out the video. Well, I'm showing the video. That's a song he did with Prolific, aka Mopes. There's also a track called Creative Differences. The video is really cool of that. It's of Buddy and Mopes, and it's a super duper dope track. And the video is Buddy on beats in London and Mopes or Prolific rhyming in Rhode Island, in Providence. Yeah, in Providence. And it's cool, just the side by side.
Chill. After the fourth listen, I start skipping forward on the disc for something that's worth listening. Like I'm on a mission from God that's not Christian. More like rock cam, I want some lyricism, knowledge and the wisdom, co-rock the rhythm. Not some photocop, so this heart robot for the system. Skimming through the let's goes and okays.
Both those songs are from the 2013 album Working Man. That's Prolific, aka Mopes, now Mopes, and Buddy Peace. But let's face it, that whole album is great. The Working Man album, so check it out. Buddy does a remix of Dan LaSax's song Caretaker.
Built upon rock, buried under rock. Her whole crew said it don't stop and it don't quit. She's hanging for nothing with everyone hovering, telling her let go of it. She might drop the pipe slid. Been running the gauntlet and haunted by slamming doors. Sitting and thinking of finally pulling the pistol on Santa Claus. You get my drift. She's in the wrong lane, feeling drowsy. Road warnings.
It's an awesome track. He made beats for Buck 65's Dirt Bike Trilogy. Have you heard those?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are only available on Buck 65's Bandcamp, and they're cool. They're really cool track. It's three albums.
If I knew the songs, maybe.
They're not. No, that yeah. I think you can only get it on his Bandcamp. But yeah, there's 3 albums. It's the Dirt Bike trilogy. He's got some really cool video.
Oh, he was on the G with Zombie Delight and Lights Out too.
Yes. Zombie Delight. So I'm going to sing a whole song right now. Just a few more other things. He's got a really cool YouTube. He does these like YouTube, they're like video mixes with his beats and then kind of random videos. Those are really cool. So subscribe to his channel. You can, you can seriously listen to music for days on end. Just through his channel. So, for example, of some of these videos these beats and videos that he has on his YouTube, he's got this thing called Sons of Bitches, and it's an entire ultra mix of Miles Davis's brilliant album, Bitches Brew. This thing is phenomenal. It's pretty incredible, and it's a 2-part series, so check those out. He's got the 2023 single called Meridianomy. This song is like a music score, but that will be in my drawing playlist for a long time because it's really moody. It's right up my alley as far as music that I like to hear while I'm drawing. He's mad prolific, with the Strange Famous stuff alone. He's got hands in B. Dolan's House of Bees mixtapes, Meter Maids' We Brought Knives, Alexander Brown's Glow Kid, the aforementioned prolific Sage Francis's Copper Gone album, so many others. That's just through Strange Famous. I counted like 32 albums on his Spotify alone. There's loads of these monthly beat tapes called Buddy Peace. Now, is it present or present? I don't know.
Present, probably.
But it's spelled the same, right? Present and present? Like a birthday present? Anyway.
Is there an S on the end?
No. But there's like 30 of those. They're like monthly beat tapes that he would put out.
Gift.
That's what I was wondering, yeah. And in between those, he's got this album, this 2022 album called Ooze, 2021 album called Typeface, and another 2021 album called Calm Heavy. Heaps of more original music from his Blue Minds podcast. Speaking of podcasts, as I said, he produces my favorite podcast, Distraction Pieces with Scroobius Pip. But also he produces a podcast called Films to be Buried with, Pod Bible, Blue Mind Podcast, and a bunch of others. So,
are you sure that's your favorite?
Prolific.
You don't think Off Menu is your favorite podcast?
Well, I would say Off Menu is my favorite podcast. No, I have favorites. I know I'm not good with one single favorite. Everything's my favorite when I'm talking about my favorites. But yes, Distraction Pieces is a really awesome podcast because not only is Scroobius Pip awesome, but the guests that they have on are people that I admire and am intrigued with. So, all right, there you go. Sorry, I rattled on, but Buddy Peace is our first guest from the UK, and we're excited to have him here. Let's meet him. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with Buddy Peace.
Today on DOD45, we have Buddy Peace. He's a sick-ass producer from the UK, from the Strange Famous family. You know what I'm saying? He's just one of those dudes. He's just got those beats, man. He just beats and beats and beats for your ear. You know, those kind of beats that just stay in your head. So Art by Ty is going to be talking to Buddy Peace today. And Yeah, shit's gonna be dope. And so check it out. This is AWOL1, and I'm telling you, if you sleep on your stomach, it doesn't mean you're a dinosaur. You know what I mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD45. This is the DOD45 Show, drawing over discussions 45 minutes with a special guest. Welcome. I'm your host and resident artist, Ty of Art by Ty, and with my co-host, Adrian Taiwali'i, we're having conversations with people who I admire and am inspired by. On this episode, I'll set a 45-minute timer, put my pen to the paper, and we'll learn about our guest through an interview-style discussion. So stay right here with us to experience some laughs and maybe even learn a thing or two. DOD45.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. Yeah, well, it's weird because I spend so much time making podcasts and I don't actually go on many at all. And
yeah,
so I was getting really nervous before I came on. I was like, what are we going to talk about?
Well, I got you covered, man. I got loads of things to talk about with you.
I know it. Yeah, I mean, I know what to expect. Well, in some ways, but in another way, it's going to be a wonderful surprise. But yeah, it's really lovely to see you both. I've been listening to and watching your podcast not for very long, shamefully, but as soon as I found out about it, I just ate them all up because the way that you both are with each other, when you have the chat first and then you have the chat at the end, that kind of stuff, and the way you are both with the guests, it's it's so. And I was lucky enough to speak to Sage about this as well. It's I was saying to him, it's it's so passionate and it's all about the love for it. People who weren't that interested in this kind of hip hop and Strange Famous wouldn't go to a Strange Famous show and document the whole thing, edit it, and put it into a 4-hour video podcast if they weren't absolutely passionate about it.
Sure.
And that that's so rare, and that's why I'm so I really am appreciative of sharing some time with both of you, because that is quite rare now, I think, because a lot of podcasts are numbers games, and they're just who should we get on this week? I don't know. I'll try them and whatever. So,
well, thank you. I can say about the 6th day into editing of that Strange Famous Fest episode, I was fucking ready to throw my computer against the wall.
Oh my God, yeah. It was incredible.
But I also love editing. And I think one of the benefits for us is, I've made a career as an artist. So the podcast really is just for the love of it. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the only part.
No, I totally get it. Yeah.
All right. Here, for the next 45 minutes, I'm going to draw you a picture, and we're going to have a discussion. So I'll set the timer. Right quick before I do set the timer, what is an album that never gets old for you?
Oh man, for sure. There's a Curtis Mayfield album just called Curtis Live. I think it's Curtis Live 74, maybe. Him on the front with the guitar. It's just a live album, absolutely 100% foolproof, start to end. You can play it in any company. I remember hearing it, and it was everything else just kind of disappeared for a bit. And because Curtis has this way of talking in between the songs, that's it's really getting into the psychology of the audience, and it's beautiful. It's real spine tingling stuff. And then it'll come in with, and then what sealed the deal for me is a few tracks in, I was oh, I know that sample. Oh, that's from a hieroglyphic song. And it's samples, beautiful music, dialogue, everything. And it never gets old. And just even the crowd, the way the crowd sounds, there's something about it. It's magical.
Yeah. Well, that's a good pick. That's an awesome pick. Oh my God. So here's your first question. Which would you rather lounge on a sofa with? Bud Bundy or Bud Light?
So what's weird is I've heard about Married with Children so much. I've never seen a single drop of it.
Are you serious?
No, it's something that never really came over here. And what I think happened is that it probably came over here packaged in a different name. So for this reason, I'm going to go with Bud Light. No, I'm not much of a beer drinker, but for familiarity's sake.
Sure. Yeah.
But
and it's not even really that great of a beer.
But I mean, maybe to push my boundaries and get out of comfort zones, I mean, maybe better to chill with Bud Bundy. But I don't like the second name, though. That's what gives me caution.
I wonder about if that. It seems like the Married with Children would have went over well in for you guys over there, but I don't know.
I'm not sure. Like, is the conceit is just like a sort of a family comedy type thing?
Yeah, but they're really shitty to each other. They're like a really awful family, and then there's a sweet moment that happens at some point in an episode. But for the most part, they're really awful people.
Oh, God.
So
I think that Married with Children was like a typical 80s, 90s gritty family.
Did you ever watch, what was the one with Roseanne Barr?
It was called Roseanne.
The titular character.
But I think it's interesting that you very Americanly would assume that every American TV show that was popular here that the English would be watching.
I wasn't assuming that.
Yeah, all right. I haven't seen every American program, but
that's what we do, though. In America, we just assume that everybody's seen and heard everything we've done.
That's true. Very American.
That's not a bad assumption, because I do know a lot about, well, a fair bit about American sort of programs, things like that. But it's mostly through rap music. Like, I'd hear a reference to something, and I'd be like, I don't know what that lyric was. And then I'd find out, it's like, wait, that's like that Ice Cube lyric was about that. And so I'd sort of reverse engineer it, like piece together the clues kind of thing.
What about, who was more elusive, Pee-wee or Cecil Otter?
You're talking about Pee Wee Herman, the character, and Cecil Otter, the rapper.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, because that's a really good two people to rate against each other, because Pee Wee Herman in the UK, I know who Pee Wee Herman is, but it never really was shown on TV, I don't think. And Cecil, I call him Cecil Otter.
Yeah.
If I asked anyone if they'd heard of him, probably not. Like, I had to do some digging to find out who he was, and the Doom Tree sort of stuff. But probably equally as elusive.
Would you rather do an ultra mix of a Buddy Guy album or score a Guy Ritchie film?
I mean, that's a terrible blind spot. I mean, I don't think I'd probably say the Buddy Guy thing, because I'm sure there's a lot more fun to be had with that. Guy Ritchie, I don't hate him, but I don't know, it's kind of tarnished a bit, because I feel like there are some films that, again, this is going to be like the American and English relationship with Guy Ritchie. I feel like Americans are like, oh yeah, Snatch, Lock, Stock, and it's like, yeah, but he also did quite a lot of stinkers as well.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Doesn't it seem like, maybe I'm wrong, I'm really not one to talk about movies, but
no, go.
The more recent ones, I'm like, this is a Guy Ritchie.
Oh, see,
it seems like the more recent ones disappoint me.
I really loved the newest one with Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, Gentleman.
Yeah, The Gentleman.
Right? Yeah, yes. I haven't seen it, because I can sort of imagine what it's like. And
it is probably exactly what you're imagining.
But I mean, it's probably better than a lot of things out there, to be honest. I mean, again, I don't hate Guy Ritchie, and if he asked me to score one of his films, I mean, absolutely. Like, I'm not a mug. But and I'd probably make more money than doing a Buddy Guy Ultra Mix and selling it on my Bandcamp.
So, and speaking about Ultra Mixes and blues and jazz, so that the Bitches Brew the Ultra Mix is so much fire. It's unbelievable, and I talked about it a little bit in the intro, but I'm wondering if you can elaborate on what that was, so to better explain what it is.
Yeah, sure. So, as I was saying, I worked in record shops for quite a while. I never really knew much about Miles Davis until I worked in his record shop in London, which was way more sort of in depth. There's a secondhand shop, loads of jazz, loads of like reggae, punk, ska, metal, everything. And that's when my kind of taste went to the next level from where it already was. And then I just started I just got tons of records from there. And I did quite a deep dive into Miles Davis, and because I knew it was coming. It's like Miles Davis, Neil Young, people like that. It's like there are a lot of people who I know it's coming, and maybe it hit me when I'm 50 or 60, but there's a lot of people who are in the distance waiting for me to get into more. But so Miles Davis, I started listening to way more of his sort of weirder stuff, and I started picking up on how many breaks and sample snippets and stuff there was, and there's some that's just really just relentless, heavy. There's a song called Rated X, I think it is, and it's on this old Buck 65 thing. I think it's the other side of Vertex. Anyway, nerd stuff, but it's pounding drums with organs over it. It's just chaos, but it's absolutely banging. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I started listening to Bitches Brew and On the Corner in way more depth. And On the Corner it's just funk jazz. It's another one of those ones that's from start to end. It's like the Headhunters album, the Herbie Hancock and Headhunters. Like that from start to end, that's just like a funk jazz odyssey. It's mad. So yeah, I mean, I just I realized how much there was in those two albums to chop up and rearrange and stuff. But then I also got these it's like the full studio sessions of those albums, which are it's this it comes in a metal, it's CDs, but it comes in this metal box, and it's all there's 6 CDs that are just full of weird takes and stuff like that. So I went
from the studio sessions.
Yeah. And all these all the dialogue with him, and there's the producer Teo Marciano, he's take 6, what take is it? And then you can hear Miles going, take 9, motherfucker, what's the difference does it make? And it's he's so funny, just swearing at him and stuff. But anyway, there's loads of that stuff on it. And I just went through it all. This is when I had clearly a lot of more time on my hands, and I chopped up every little bit I could find, because it's all stereo. So it was I went through each track twice, left channel, right channel. So yeah, I went through it all, named every single sample, loaded it all up into a session, and just kind of just noodled around and found grooves in the samples. And I mean, that's sort of it. The rest is...
You took it all apart. You dismantled the whole thing and then put it together in your own, rebuilt your version of it.
That's it. Yeah. So just taking all of those little pieces, looping sections round and round, and just sort of you get a feel for it. And one might sound, if you slow it down, then it might sound really loose with the samples that you got there, and just experimenting for ages. And
it's so good. It is so good. If they were to make a movie about your life, who would be the best to play your father, Nick Cage or Nick Nolte?
So Nick
Nolte's crazy one?
He's kind of crazy, yeah.
Because I get him mixed up with Gary Busey.
A lot of people do. Yeah, Gary Busey's nuts. Nick Nolte is also nuts, but Nick Nolte is less nuts as Gary Busey.
On a scale. Gary Busey, I feel would look more like a passable version of my dad. But Nick Cage would be fantastic. Just entertaining. I'd love to see what he would do with that. And I'd just like to see where he would take it. I think Nick Nolte, I don't feel like he deserves it. I feel like Nick Cage has been working so hard and doing so much mad stuff over the years that he deserves as many roles.
He gets to play father piece.
And also I know that Slug's a big fan of him too. So
in the same film, they're going to add Scroobius as a character in this movie about you, except for some reason they can't get Scroob because of some sort of scheduling conflict. But and so their only option to play Scroob is either Nick Frost or Nick Offerman. You have final decision contract. Who do you pick to play Scroobius?
You're mental. I think. I mean, this is weird because it comes with a bit of weight in that I know that he knows Nick Frost fairly well. I feel like he would. Is this he would play Pip?
Yeah.
I think Nick Offerman would probably play Pip.
Might be more interesting though, huh?
Yeah. No, I like Nick Offerman a lot.
Nick Offerman, the guy he's in the. I'm pretty sure he's in that mushroom movie a TV show I'm watching, The Last of Us.
Is he in The Last of Us?
Oh,
yeah.
Have you seen the episode that he's in?
Adrian just started watching it.
Past that. Yes.
What did that? Without, I mean, I guess we maybe talk around the spoilers.
Yeah, sure. My kids are like, you didn't cry? What is wrong with you?
I was going to say, how were you left at the end of when the credits started rolling? Were you kind of like, Or
yeah, I was like, wow, we went through this whole thing just for this.
She was pissed.
Adrian, no.
Yeah, I was talking about it at dinner last night. I was like, we did this whole thing, and then X happened, and that's that.
I thought we all universally shared this bond of like we were utterly wrecked and like completely just like I was destroyed like for about
were you
10 minutes? Yeah, I was legit like real tears. Like
I was expecting it to go further.
She was pissed
into the story. I guess I'm more used to novels where they return and it's not just like a quick episode.
Do you cry over novels?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
I think I've cried reading one book once, and that was a similar response. It was like a real kind of like primal. It hit something.
Well, the thing with Adrian is she's let these books ruin all these TV shows.
Well, this one was never a book. I would have read it. It would have been a great book.
Yeah, it was never a book, was it? It just went from game to film,
video
to series.
Game. Okay, so we got Nick Offerman, and who was the other guy?
Nick Frost. You just watched him because my kids. I'll just say this. I already said it in the intro, but I'm a dork for British television, mostly British comedians. My daughter's gotten way into it because I'm constantly watching 8 out of 10 Cats, Taskmaster. I mean, I'm constantly. It's like on all the time. So my daughter's like way into Noel Fielding right now.
Oh yeah. That's interesting.
Like way into him.
That's interesting. It connects to American folk. I thought it was such I guess it's sort of like Monty Python. It's like that there is a point of connection with people who aren't from the UK. For some reason I thought it was like a really specific. English.
She loves the Mighty Boosh, man. Now she's like nonstop.
What else? Is we raised them watching Flight of the Conchords.
Oh yeah,
and she says they compare really well together.
Yeah.
Like they're very similar.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think she's just used to that style.
Yeah.
What were you just saying something though, Adrian? Because
Nick Offerman and Nick Frost.
So
I don't know this.
We just watched Hot Fuzz. That's where I was going because my kids wanted to watch Hot Fuzz, so we just watched. Yeah. He was the dopey cop.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that.
Oh god, I know there's so many quotes, and I saw it about maybe sort of a year ago. I should remember quotes, but it's a really great film, and he was in Spaced as well, wasn't he?
Yes, and also Adrian in the zombie.
That's fine.
Shaun of the Dead.
Well, we already picked Nick Offerman to play Scroob. Yeah.
Okay.
Might be it's a weird casting choice, but they're going with it. So continuing in this scenario though.
Well, he's got the beard, so
the casting director calls you and says they only have 2 choices to play you. Who would you rather play you in this movie, Tom Hardy or Tom Hiddleston?
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Oh, that would be great, right?
I think Tom Hiddleston, he sort of reminds me of my mum's dad in a way. There's something facially, like maybe his forehead. I don't know. There's something. There is something really specific, but I like Tom Hardy more. I think.
What was the Golden Bangkok guest?
Oh, okay. So basically, I spent quite a lot of time in Laos. I'll get to that. But to get to Laos, you have to go. So you go from London Heathrow, to Bangkok to Laos. In Laos, so me and my partner did a lot of record shopping. Like she's really into records, but like not as nerdy as I am. She's more into like sailing and things like that. But because we live by the sea. But I was just sort of like trying to find all these record shops and look for like weird Thai records and things like that. So I found a lot of like old 45s and albums and tapes and things like that. And before I went out there, I did a lot of homework and I got in touch with like people from record shops, and so they were sort of giving me stuff to listen to and like yeah, you got anything with breaks on it? It's like yeah. So they give me all these sort of Thai drum breaks and stuff. And also I had my like field recorder, so I was recording all the sounds while we were walking around, like all the sort of the trains have specific noises and the birds in the city as well. There's these really weird like city birds that you always hear, and just the traffic and the noise and the people and everything. So it was like I knew it was going to be a project at some point. And so when I got back to London, when I was living in London, I just dumped everything onto my computer, and yeah, in the same way as I did the Miles Davis thing, it was like just started chopping everything up and arranging it, and it's like I knew this had to be like its own project sort of thing.
So they were all stuff that you recorded in Bangkok.
Yeah. So it's a mix of the records and just the field recordings and the sounds I got, like while in taxis and on the plane and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff from Laos as well. So I mean, there's like geckos on the walls, and they've got a really unique sound. It's so cool. I love it.
Hey, have you ever? Well, what's the most exotic food you've ever tried? Would it have been something that you've had in exotic, being that's not non-typical, not necessarily culturally, but just exotic?
Yeah. No, definitely in Laos it was papaya salad, which it doesn't sound very exotic, but it's just incredible. It's like immediate. It's like like Haribo, like sour candy sort of thing. It's like the savory version of that. It's like your mouth just kind of, it's like, whoa, what's going on? And because it's made with papayas that in the UK we wouldn't have, because like they have to grow to a certain point or something like that. It's like they're like unripened, and we wouldn't have that in the UK. So already that's kind of wild to my taste buds.
Adrian, is that
can
the
be
same?
a weird flavor to get used to too, because it kind of, if without lime or something, it kind of tastes like stinky socks.
Yeah,
it's also the sound of it being made, because it's like the people who make it on the street, they had these like stone bowls, and then there's a real rhythm to it, like, and it's like, that was another sample I've probably used.
You sampled that, of course you did.
yeah. So like there's that, and then there's a sort of eating it in the surroundings where it's supposed to be eaten. And like if you could have it in an expensive place in London and it'd be like, oh yeah, it's pretty tasty, but when you're out there, it's like, this is just a snack that you get on the way to the temple,
right?
Or whatever.
Are you a foodie?
I appreciate people who are foodies. I couldn't honestly say I am. I don't think I am. I don't think so.
Have you fantasy came up with your off menu if you were?
I think of it sometimes, and I'm like, I just don't think I'd have the interesting answers that people have. I really don't. I mean, I'm very like health conscious and careful of what I eat, and I have to be careful.
You know what though? I feel like those are the ones that are usually the better ones, because it is a dream restaurant, so you can eliminate all of the health stuff and just go with what you really wish you could eat.
That's true. I think Pip, when he was on it, he was just sort of all like, Domino's pizza all the way, and like, that's just and like Ben and Jerry's ice creams. Like,
he did. I believe it was the first. I think it was Off Menu's first episode.
I think he was.
It was. Yeah, it was their very first one.
Yeah.
What sounds like a more relaxing evening for you? Watching some Buddy Hackett movies or spinning Buddy Holly records?
No, Buddy Holly, because I've always loved Buddy Holly. And it is weird. Like, so my dad used to play Buddy Holly in the car a lot, and then I remember finding out when I was super young about how he died. And then I remember like from that moment on, I got really superstitious about playing his music because I thought, well, like, because he died in a plane crash. And
Yeah,
so,
you don't want to listen to it on the airplane either.
well, yeah, I mean, anywhere. Like, I didn't want to hear it because I thought, well, that's like, if I ever go on a plane, then I'll probably, who knows what was going on in my head? I don't,
You know
I
who?
don't understand.
That's the day the music died. You know who was all on that flight?
Oh, the Big Bopper.
Yeah, Big Bopper and Richie Valens.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're all on the same flight.
Yeah.
It
Well,
came
because
up
I
recently.
often, every time I think of it too, I think of what's the redneck band, Adrian, the really famous one. Oh shit.
There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, but everyone sings the song.
Alabama.
I think they
Sweet
all
Home
they
Alabama?
all
Leonard
yes,
Skinner.
they all died. Yeah,
No.
Leonard Skinner.
Is that who you're talking?
Oh man, yes it is. Didn't their whole band die in a plane crash?
And it's Skinner.
Not
Yeah,
me.
yeah, but not like a good portion of the band. Well,
But
shit.
not old. What's his name?
I shouldn't speak on things I don't really know. But
What's his?
I
What's
feel
the singer's name? What's he called? Yeah, the horrible right wing Ted.
no, Ted's not part of Leonard
Nugent?
Skinner.
Ted
though.
Nugent wasn't?
Yeah,
wasn't
he wasn't part of Leonard. He was out at that same time when Leonard Skinner was out, though. But he's a real piece of shit.
Oh yeah. No, he's horrible.
Yeah, the Nuge. Have you considered or done an ultra mix with the conversation score?
Oh, I've used it in a mix. Have you seen The Conversation?
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm a huge Francis Ford Coppola fan, so
Okay.
and that's the one that gets overlooked always because it was in between the two Godfathers.
Right, of course.
Yeah,
Which I haven't seen.
most people haven't seen The Conversation, but it's a brilliant picture, and the score is incredible.
The reason why this so, I mean, I went through a phase of like deep digging into all this sort of stuff. So the guy who did the sound, not the guy who played the score, but the guy who mixed all the sound is called Walter Murch, and he did all the he did Godfathers, and he did this film called THX 1138, which is, it might have been George Lucas's first film, one of those.
It was
people.
George Lucas's first.
Right. So he did sound on that, and I mean he's completely like, he's such a math face, like he's just like, he just has these sort of philosophies about sound and then about like life in general. And he's like, I remember reading books by him and thinking like, yeah, like I could have you as my dad quite easily and like just sort of listen to you speak about like life stuff and things like that. He's so on it. And anyway, he did the sound for all those films, and the reason why the score works so well is because it's just solo piano, and The Conversation is like I think it's like in every shot Gene Hackman is in pretty much every shot or in every scene, and because it's all about him and it's a solo person, and the piano score is just one person at a piano, and it's all so just sort of centered around this one person. And there was something about like, you know, that's why it works so well, is because it's just so kind of like stripped down. And
I can see why you would be attracted to it. I know you even mentioned like you
oh, it's a guy in a room editing sound by himself. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, so for people who don't know, check out the movie The Conversation. It's about a guy that's it's like during the height of like spy.
I know.
It wasn't that common for like to be like surveillance. So it's about a dude that's doing surveillance on a conversation that happens in a park, and he has to piece together this recording because he was hired to do it. Anyway, I won't tell you the whole story, but it's Francis Ford Coppola, so you know mentally you're going to be taken through quite a ride, and it's a beautiful picture. It really is.
I mean, the soundtrack's so it's so dark, like I don't know, bleak. It's got that 70s bleakness
is the perfect
to it.
word for it.
But then
really
there's some that are really kind of, it's not bleak, it's got, I guess it's like melancholic. It's like you could hear it, and it's that kind of like, you know, chin and your face and your head on your chin, like like wistfully
It fits
looking
perfect for the picture.
Yeah.
Is there a word that you've been using incorrectly but didn't realize it until recently?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, I'm not somebody who uses literally a lot, but I find myself getting sucked into that trap of
Don't stop it.
Yeah.
Everybody's using it too much.
Scourge of our generation. Yeah. I mean, but then I don't know. Sometimes I really mean literally, but then I say it and I'm like, oh, but everyone uses that word and they use it wrong. I don't know.
I just last week, I always thought it was smorgasbord with a G.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Well, a lot. I don't hear people saying smorgasbord
with a D, right?
Yeah, it's a board of schmorgas, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
I literally just last week, and my kids told me they were making fun of me because I always thought it was a smorgasbord.
You shouldn't be made fun of. I mean, the mouth does the same movements as Borg and board. Like, come on, kids give you.
Oh, my kids will make fun of me for anything.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating though. Like, I mean, there's so many mishearings of words and stuff like that. I mean, my mind's blank now, but. Oh God, that's a really good question though. I'm definitely if I do get it wrong, I'm not proud enough to sort of be like, no, come on, like I'll correct myself and I will from that point on. I think an interesting thing recently has been not recently, but like in the past 10 years is just, like pronouns and things like that. And that's been, I think that's fantastic. I think. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah. Well, I mean, why haven't we been doing it all along? And then, I mean, it's kind of clear why, because just society isn't ready for things when it should be. But
sure,
yeah, that's been something that's sort of worthy of consideration. It's not one that I haven't been. I don't feel like I've been using pronouns wrong. So it's not one of the words that it's not like an area of language I feel like I've been doing wrong, but I've certainly been thinking of it more and like trying like when people suggest that I use a certain pronoun for them, then I will obviously make an effort. And it's interesting how my mind sometimes it's like, oh, you're making a mistake. And it is so annoying. It's like, I know that what I'm trying to say, but it's almost like your brain sometimes sort of like throws a sort of speed bump in the way or something like that. Because it's like I'm so used to like I grew up in the 80s and like I mean like back then things were so different and I mean any sign of progress, like even how crushingly slow it is, I mean it is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah,
I think it might be an age thing to a degree because again like we are, I think, not programmed, but we probably grew up around like we talked in a way that didn't really allow room for that, and it wasn't necessarily a discussion that was on the table even. And I mean, it's always wild to think back to those times, like back in the 80s.
Well, I am excited. It is a discussion. I mean, not excited, but I think it is a good thing that it is a discussion that we can have.
Yeah.
Young ones or young guns?
Young ones.
Were you a fan of the Danger Brothers at all? That's Rick Mail and Adrian Edmondson's. That was their show, and like all they did is just beat the shit out of each other. It was a British show. They were like these like 20-minute segments, and Adrian is still very much Vivian-ish, but and Rick is still very Rick, but the whole show is pretty much them beating the shit out of each other.
Do you remember if it was part of something called Comic Strip?
I think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was this show on its own. I think it was a part of the segment because they were like these like 15, 20-minute segments.
That sounds like Comic Strip.
No, I was huge. I was a huge Young Ones fan when I was a little kid. I loved them. I loved both Rick and I
think I'm a Neil guy.
I loved Neil.
He was the voice of. Did you ever see the Magic Roundabout?
Oh, I don't think I did.
Do you know the Magic Roundabout?
I don't know if I do. It sounds familiar, but
it's worth looking up. I reckon that it will be up your street. It's so what you're drawing there, like so the wizards. it's not far from a real life puppet version of that, but like stop frame animation. And there's like a shaggy, fluffy white dog. There's one of the characters, and there's like this crazy pogo.
It's like a claymation. I just visualized the magic roundabout. Those words, like all the roundabouts out there. Oh, and just like, is that how you get? You
mean like driving?
Yes.
Wow, what an exciting program!
Is that what it is?
Magic roundabout? Who knows?
Sorry, that's why I laughed for a minute, because I was like, wait, what is this?
No, I think it's like that's interesting. But yeah, a carousel, because now you say it, I've never thought of that. It's like roundabout is the most unexciting thing in the UK.
Well, the roundabout was a very big deal to us, because our first time over there, because I always drive. That was we drive on the other side of the road in South.
Oh, did you hate it? Did you have a really bad time?
No, no, I'm a driver. I enjoy it.
You can also switch your sides of brain that you use.
Yeah. I'll say that I don't drive, so I understand, like, how it all goes and stuff, but I don't drive, so
yeah, it's
I can't speak from experience.
I find it exciting. I find it being like a challenge, I think.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question real quick. What would be more interesting, Tom Waits playing Ron Perlman or Ron Perlman playing Tom Waits?
Oh my God. I love it. These questions are so inventive. Ron
Perlman is Hellboy, Adrian.
Oh.
But yeah, he's very, very Tom Waitsy. I see what you're getting at. I think Tom Waits playing Ron Perlman. It would have to be.
Yeah, some sort of weird movie where they, like a Freaky Friday situation.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, I think Tom Waits is like, he does seem open to a lot of, like, I mean, obviously open to a lot of crazy stuff. And Ron Perlman he seems like he's a game for anything.
Yeah, I'm not to toss too much shade. I just don't think he's a great actor. So.
Functional, but I know what you mean. Serviceable. No.
Do you play other instruments?
Well, I've got so on this wall here, I've got a bass guitar, a banjo, and it's like these little short electric guitar and bass guitar. So
do you play them proper, like you?
No. I can strum the banjo. Bass, I can sort of play note by note. Electric guitar, I mean, it's more for textures and sort of getting into that for like ambience and stuff like that. But not really. I mean, I can't even drum. Like, I can do the finger drumming stuff, but
that's interesting. Well, that's totally different muscle. But
it's weird, because I thought, because I can do the finger drumming stuff like well, and I can
very well.
I can do. I'm not based in. I just mean like that. That's one thing. If that was considered an instrument, I'd say that's probably my instrument. But when it comes to drums, I'm like, because it's feet as well, and it's
But I mean, you got rhythm down, and what I like about your beats and the stuff that you play when you're playing the finger drum is the tempo. It's right tempo, but it's like you do these really cool, bizarre, almost like Lars on the drums. Like he does these time change ups, but they make sense. I don't know. I really, really enjoy it.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to mention that. Like, there's one fill-in, this is really specific, and you can ignore this or pay attention to it if you want. But John Bonham, Led Zeppelin, like, so there's a fill that I actively steal from him, which is always do that.
Do you want to say from what song?
I can't. I think it's maybe it's called Out on the Tiles or something. I'm going to start. This is what my brother does. He'll try and explain the song to me and start going, no, it's the one that goes, the whole thing. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what we just tried to do in the intro was hum the Benny Hill theme song, and Adrian did the circus song, and then I tried to do it. I was like, no, that's not it. And then I couldn't do it either.
I can see why you would do the circus song. Is
that's
Benny Hill is.
Oh, that's it.
Yakety sax. And I'm sorry for Benny Hill on behalf of my nation.
My parents
apology.
watched it when I was younger, and I loved it. All right, we're
Can't
gonna
do
go
any of
to
that now, can you? They're chasing
no.
women around, and
I know.
God.
I forget. It is super crass, right?
it's terrible.
Or beyond. Yeah, I haven't seen it forever. We'll go into a Sage of social media. Like, before we do, here we go. What about favorite MC and rapper duo? Do you have one?
Oh God, Eric B and Rakim.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, straight away. Yeah, I'll go with that.
What's something in America that we have that you wish you had in the UK?
Oh, heavens above. That's a huge one. I mean, there's a lot of musical history and things like that for sure we don't have a lot of. I'd really have to give that some thought.
Yeah.
Let me come back to yeah.
Well,
I like that as a question.
Email it in, and I'll slap it in on the.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting question.
What advice would Buddy 2023 give Buddy 2000?
That's really good. I mean, it would be really interesting in reverse too, like what advice I would give myself now, because I think there are things that I've probably gone like the wrong way with.
Oh, well, so you're saying like Buddy 2000 could maybe even just remind you of some stuff that you've lost sight of.
I think that would be, I think that would be more useful, because I think that there are certain things to do, like, stuff like socially and like, what I would say is that like Buddy 2023 would say like, I know that this music stuff is really satisfying and it's really appealing and you love doing it, but like, don't spend as much time on it. And that edit you're doing, don't let this project that you're obsessing over be the reason you cancel a meet up with somebody or
that's interesting
on an event. Because I used to do a lot of that. I used to be like, oh, I'm so busy, I've got all this stuff on, and it's like, really, I just wanted to be on my sampler on my computer or turntables, and like, my girlfriend said that because she was part of my friend group back in the late 90s, and they used to come over and say like, oh, is Buddy coming out? And then I'd sort of send a message downstairs this is when I lived at home, like via my mum, and say like, I'm busy, and I'm, and I'd just be practicing scratching and stuff like that. And it's like that kind of thing. If I could go back and tell myself like, just, come on, get out of the house, do something, I would love to have heard that.
So, but are you feeling like you may have missed out on some social stuff because of that?
For sure. I mean, I'm not like, I mean, I'm all right socially. I think I wouldn't say I'm necessarily socially awkward, but I definitely had a bit of a sort of an apprehension, and there are some things now that I understand why they might happen that back then I didn't have the words for or the language to explain to myself. Like, for instance, I mean, I didn't have panic attacks, but like, I feel like these days people understand what a panic attack is and what it's about and what it sort of is, what's happening in your head. Whereas back in those days, you'd just be like, oh, I feel really weird. And even things like, I mean, it comes up a lot in the podcasts that I work with, but like things like autism, like that. I think there's a much better understanding of that now than there was back then. And there's certainly people that I knew who were probably, you would say, were autistic. And I don't know. I mean, I might be, like, I'm not sure. I haven't been tested. So
right.
Yeah. It's things like that. I mean, there's just a lot that, when you go back, and if you were to see, I think if I was to see myself in certain situations and give myself a bit of a sort of like pause, right, don't do this thing you're about to do. Okay, cool, go. And like get in there and sort of edit while it was happening. Yeah. Fascinating.
All right. How did you come to meet and ultimately become a member of the Strange Famous Fam? That's how I'm going to get into this social media some Sage?
So, if memory serves, I was trying to think of like how I got into Sage. Even I think that was from 6'2", because he did a track called The Canada Project, which had Sage on it.
I just came to this whack-ass cafe to drink an iced coffee and kill a bit of time before the matinee. Why did I eat cappuccino cooler? Now I'm trying to avoid eye contact, let's see if I can fool her. Put a look of concentration on my face as I scribble on a napkin, squinting my eyes, acting like I'm really serious about this mess of nonsensical pen action. A web of chicken scratch and ink blots. Is she still there, standing awkwardly glaring? I think not. Look up, think again. Shit, now when is she gonna stop making me waste ink from my pen as I sit in the tent?
And that has Sage's Cafe Girl verse on it, which is like one of his really like well-known old tracks, pieces, whatever. And I got into 6'2" through Buck 65, so that was like late 90s, like 98 or 99 or something. And then Sage like really caught my attention from there. And then I think I heard Climb Trees after that.
Setting sunrise on my own personal light show, flipping switches, moving from bass and bottoms to plateaus. The earth manipulates itself beneath me. I stand still, stagnate, can't kill this lag state. Life manipulates itself around me, but I'm dead still, upright but dead still. Word is still born, I will not stoop to the level of the stoop that y'all chill on. If the building's boarded up and the children of the corn, the liquor store don't want to kick it no more, cause holes that fill the walls.
And into personal journals and all the sort of the sick of waiting tables and all that sort of stuff. And I think I bought like.
Where were you accessing that music from?
I got the what's it called, the the Gateway was I got Buck 65's Vertex on the CD from there's a record shop called Rough Trade, which used to be below a skate shop in London, in Covent Garden. So I got that on CD from there.
Was that kind of music hard to get though?
Yeah.
So
really,
it only
really
could
hard
be in a place like that.
Well, so what happened was that like I started working in a record shop in this town called Kingston, and it's called Banquet Records, and they do really well. Like they're massive now. Like they're really awesome shop. And back then it was called Beggars Banquet, which is part of the label Beggars Banquet. And I was the hip hop buyer. So in 2001, like I was basically in touch with all the distributors that sold that stuff, and I was ordering it. I'll have that one for me and one for somebody else.
That's so
basically,
cool.
Yeah, like I was ordering it from these distributors for me, completely for me. And then eventually, when nobody bought copies of some things, like, oh yeah, we've got to reduce that. Yeah, no one's bought it. Like that's coming home with me. So yeah, it's lots of trial and error, lots of like buying stuff from American websites. So it was like there's one called Sandbox Automatic. I think maybe Hip Hop Infinity.
So when you were ordering that, was there an appetite in the area? Was there an appetite for it, or was most of that not getting purchased?
Yeah, not really. I definitely had to push it on a lot of people, and I had to find the tracks and like the albums that it's like, all right, so if you're into, I don't know, if you're into Jurassic 5, like maybe try this thing. And so I'd have to find the most relevant weird hip hop thing, and then like maybe you're like Gel, I don't know, maybe you're like Controller 7 was a good one because a lot of his stuff was like, there was this album he did called Left-Handed Straw. The first track was just banging, and it was like I knew that if you were into J-Zone or if you were into like, you know, indie rap from around that time, you would definitely love this. And so there was lots of like, it was really satisfying because if you put somebody onto something, then they would keep coming back and they'd trust you. So you build that trust and like, well, if you like that, well, this one, so you get on with that, and like you could try sort of get them into like Dose 1, and Dose 1 was a very hard sell because like I mean, sometimes I'd put it on in the shop, and some people would be like, "Who's this?" And some people would be like, "Who's this?" Like the difference was, I mean, yeah, you get like people who hated it or absolutely loved it in 10 seconds. And I love him. I think he's fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, it was just about finding those people and like zeroing in on what they liked, trying to find the connective tissue between that and then the sort of the weirder stuff or whatever you'd call it, and then trying to build a bit of a sort of fan base off that. And it worked to a degree. I mean, there's a lot of people. I think I put quite a lot of people onto.
Yeah, you're responsible for some people, probably.
I think so, and like a lot of the Sage stuff. I mean, there's definitely like there's somebody who's like he picked out Climb Trees in this record shop in London, and I went up to him and said like, you definitely need to get that. And you know, it's things like that. It's like if you see people interested in it, then you can hype it up for them and sort of be a bit of a kind of a hype man, I suppose, like for it. So, and it was a real pleasure as well. I mean, I was doing that anyway with hip hop, and it's not just the Anticon or Strange Famous, like that kind of stuff. It was just hip hop. Like if I knew somebody was into this thing, then that's what I love doing, is like being the connecting point and satellite.
And there's a real pleasure that comes from sharing music with others.
But there's a really weird, contradictory, like dissonant thing in my head, though, because there's that, but then there's also the DJing side, which is all about secrecy. So there's part of me that's like, I have held back in the past where I've been like, oh, you'd love this, but this is
I can't give it to you.
Yeah, this is my secret, and I don't want you to play it.
I know,
because that's my thing. Yeah.
So you ended up meeting Sage in you're over there or over here?
Yeah, I didn't even get to that, did I? So in my online days, when I was buying stuff from these random American hip hop websites, it was mostly like Mush Records stuff and like old A$AP Rock and Sage or whatever. I found the website, so it was the Non-Profits website, which was then it was obviously Sage Francis and Joe Beats, and then I started chipping in on there because I'd sort of found my training wheels and message boards on the Controller 7 message board. So then I learned how to use message boards on there because they're all it's a very safe space, and it was all very sort of positive people on there. And then I started dipping my toe in the Non-Profits forum, and I think that's where I realized Sage was on there and posting, and but I started making remixes for like some of the remix contests. Like there's a lot of the then Non-Profits remixes, or God, I can't even remember. Like there were loads of like weird a cappella, like remix contests and stuff like that. And so I entered a few of those, and I think some of them I didn't win, but Sage liked them, and he did a few shows in the UK, and then I was always the one who was just lurking around, like, wearing my Strange Famous t-shirt. I had my mini disc recorder ready, so then I'd be like, oh, can you do me a little shout out for my mixtape? Because I knew that no one else would be doing that, because I was so into it, and I could see how into it other people were, and I was always like, I'm more into it than anyone else is.
Yeah.
So I did that with Sage. Like Soul was at the Sage show. Eventually I started DJing at shows, so like Themselves, Dose and Gel did a show. Then it was like Cloud Dead, all that lot, and then eventually like Sage would come back more and more, and then I'd meet him again, and then we sort of build as good of a relationship as we could in that sort of long distance sense, I suppose. And then just sort of getting in touch with other people. So like, Buck would come over, and then I'd give him a CD and like get a shout out from him and all this kind of stuff. It was just that. I mean, it's weird. Like, I say about having those sort of social hang-ups, but I kind of didn't when it came to the music stuff. I was like brazenly going up to these people, and I was very, I don't want to say humble, but like I wasn't just like, yeah, what's up, man? Like, giving it all that. I was just myself and polite and just I feel like I was quite pleasant and cordial. Had my manners were nice, and
which is also a weird behavior in the hip hop world.
yeah. I mean, I saw some of the things other people were doing, and they were literally like. I remember seeing B. Dolan shows, like somebody like literally cornered him on a staircase and like shouting in his ear like this freestyle. It was like, yo, let me rap to you, and then it's like in his ear. Like I can imagine how that felt, when somebody's just too close to your ear. Like I could feel it.
And he definitely went home going like, oh, I can't wait to do something with that guy.
yeah, exactly. It's like, the way he came up to me, I thought that really bodes well for a collab. Yeah, that's gonna be a good relationship.
All right, let's hit this social. This such a social media alert from Sage Francis.
What up, buddy? Peace, DOD45. Sage Francis in the house at Strange Famous HQ in Rhode Island. Buddy, peace. I just saw you a couple weeks ago. We did 2 shows in the UK. Thoroughly enjoyable for me. And I'm glad we finally get to share some time together along with Offerman. I did a little bit of lurking on your social media. There wasn't a whole lot to find. One thing that I found kind of funny was on January 1st, 2019, you said, I'm hoping I get the chance to say, chillax, Grandpa, before I turn 40, which is a self-inflicted cutoff point. And I just have a tough time seeing Buddy Peace saying chillax, Grandpa to anybody. Did you ever get to say it before you turned 40? What other things of note did you want to achieve by 40 that you did? And now that you're over 40, do you think it matters? I love you. Can't wait to do more with you. We got Buddy Peace scratching all over the upcoming Meter Maze album called A Line in the Sky, produced by Alexander Brown. And I'm all over that album as well. Lots of Strange Famous features. It's a wonderful thing. Kind of is like we're bringing in the vibe of the Strange Famous Fest, just all that love and community that we experienced in Denver last summer. So anyway, Sage Francis out. Love y'all. Peace, buddy.
Oh, I love Sage. He's so nice.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that new Meter Maids album too.
It's just so good. I can say that easily. Like, I'm not saying like I was so good because I did some really good stuff on it. It's more like I heard everything in order to put the scratches on and put all this little sound stuff on it. But at that point, it's lovely. It's like they've just got such a, I don't know what it is. It's like there's a perspective that they have on the world and life, and it's really. It just communicates really easily. It's like it's an easy listen. I always think of this thing of like an easy hang. That's how I describe this. It's like there's nothing that you're kind of like, huh? What's that about? It's like it's just a really pleasant, agreeable, like just satisfying album.
That's attributed to them personally. They were one of my favorite episodes, just hanging with those two.
They put me onto this. They put me onto you guys. So
they were a lot of fun to hang with, man.
They're hilarious.
Well, so you get to say chillaxin?
Relax, Grandpa.
Oh, was that what it was?
Chillax, Grandpa. Yeah. I don't remember that.
That was what a great term too. Self-inflicted old. At 40?
I think I vetoed the word chillax anyway. Like that was just like there's one point I think where I was just like, and the drawbridge is up for that, and we're not going to say that. Thank you very much. No, I didn't get to say it. It was unfulfilled goal. God, I should have written it down somewhere. I put it on some social media, but like I should have reminded myself. Damn. Yeah.
All right, so the way we've done this format now, where I've changed it this season because we're in our new season, is I draw for the 45 minutes and then the last 10 minutes, but we've long gone over that, which is fine for me. But
2 hours and 17 minutes by my count.
We finish off with the dish. So, and that's we serve you the dish. I don't know. It's the stupidest thing, and it just came to me, so I call it the dish. It's the first, worsts, and favorites. What was the first concert you went to?
That was Faith No More. Do you know them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh.
That's a good first band.
It really is. The first concert?
Yeah. I mean, that was in Brixton Academy. That must have been like 91 or early 90s, way early 90s. And I feel like I was at quite a good age to do that because everything was super overwhelming, and it was like, you know, when you first hear music that loud, and it's like, oh, I didn't know music did this, like, and it hits you in your chest, and you get all that sort of like that complete overwhelm.
The first time you heard or saw a DJ scratch?
Ooh, I mean, everyone says Rocket.
That was my first time.
Right. I don't know if that's true for me. I think, I mean, it didn't come like visually or physically for me. It was more like, I don't know. I think I always credit DJ Premier with like, it's like a sort of almost like a sense memory thing, but like on the album Hard to Earn, like I remember hearing that and hearing the way he scratches on a lot of those tracks is like, yeah, that is exactly how, if I could scratch, I would scratch like that. Like, really funky, rhythmic, and even like using the cutout switches, which not a lot of people did. And it's like you can hear the kind of, and it's just sort of like, I don't know, it's like the way that the beats sound. There's a swing to the beats, and then there's a swing to the scratches, and there's a funk and a soul to it. And I think hearing that was the first sort of person to do that really made me want to sort of scratch.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
There were sort of versions of crushes I had when I was like, I didn't know what was going on in here, and all that stuff. But I mean, in a more basic level, I think that, like, the first sort of, it was a band, and the band, do you remember L7? They did this song called Pretend We're Dead.
You had a crush on one of these girls?
I mean, as a unit, like together.
Yeah. So it's a kind of a grungy girl band. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I crush on
funky.
Just the word of a all-girl band. I crush already. I love all-girl bands.
I remember, like, at the time, because again, like, as I was saying, we didn't have MTV or anything, and so we had there was a TV program called The Word, which was like the sort of the racy 11 o'clock Friday night program you'd watch, and you'd see these, like, there'd either be really car crash interviews or there'd be really sort of like naughty, sexy stuff on it.
Right.
But yeah, I think L7 played on The Word, and one of the, I think it was like the bass player. It was almost like the Red Hot Chili Peppers thing, like this sort of, you know, the socks on their.
Yeah,
on their bits. But she was wearing nothing underneath the guitar, and then you could, at the end of it, she was like moving the guitar around. You could sort of see stuff.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and I think I was like 11 at the time, so it was chaos. So yeah.
When was your first time in America?
2005. Yeah, I was quite late. The first flight I took was 2004. A few of us who did music in London, we had this night called Wheels Instead of Hooves, and we were sort of vaguely tangentially connected with Warp Records. I did mixes. I did a mix for Warp Records, and we went out there and did a show with. There was this electronic hip hop group called Shade Tech. Yeah, so we did a couple of nights out there with them, and Yeah, I mean that was the first time. It's pretty unremarkable.
Oh, let's get into the worsts. Who's the worst TV presenter?
So there's this channel. I don't even want to give it any light or anyway. There is a channel we have in the UK. They call themselves a news channel, and I'm just so hesitant to even reference them because I don't want to darken this podcast with their name. Anyway, it's like a right-wing news channel. It's like they want to be Fox. They want to be like that kind of thing, and they're really trying, and they're just shameful. Anyway, anyone on that. Piers Morgan gets the gas face. I'm a fan of all the all the British comics, but I love hearing him bash Piers Morgan because he's a real twat. It's so funny because like he at one point it sounded like is that the same guy? What happened to him? God, who knows? Like it was really weird. It was almost like he did this thing where he's like, oh well, I'll get some of this audience. And then when they're on board, I will switch and then go back to what I was before. And it's like, what? Why did you do that? Like, it's really bizarre. You almost had people thinking you were all right, and then you completely fucked it up again. Yeah, because he was real popular, like for a while. And then it seemed that it was in the pandemic. It seemed like he'd sort of turned the corner, but nah. Like we just got a lot of junk people here. It sucks.
What's the worst word?
You won't. I don't think you're going to agree with me on this one, but there's one word that I realise I've always had problems with, and it's lunch. I can't stand it. I don't even use it.
What would you say instead of it?
I'm gonna get some food. Some food. Yeah, I'm gonna have some food at around midday-ish or something. Like
midday food,
midday meal.
Oh, there's something about it. It's like. I was just eating lunch. I'm like, ugh.
It is a weird sounding word.
It's to do with the shapes that your mouth makes to get to the end in this sort of like lunge, but.
What about brunch?
Brunch to me as well. So there's a. It has baggage.
Is it the unch? Is it the unch part that bugs you?
But I don't mind hunch. Like hunch is quite a cool word. But like it's something to do with like the sound of it. Brunch I find annoying because it's like I imagine people just sort of with a lot of time on their hands casually just like drinking mimosas and like eggs and just gossiping and stuff. I'm nuts.
Well, it's not just the word; it's it's what comes with it too.
I don't know what. It's just this baggage I've assigned to it. And honestly, no disses or anybody has brunch.
You're throwing shade at anyone that uses lunch.
The entire English-speaking world.
I've got two others, which one is unpack, which I've started to hate. Because
because of being overused.
Yeah.
Now we got to unpack this.
It's almost like saying it's like that. Like when people say leaning into something, it's like there's a podcast trait. It's like sometimes people catch a cold, and it's like they catch the word, and you hear it all the time. And
let's lean into that now.
Well, we unpack it first. I mean, it's like, but I imagine somebody is like it. It's sort of like the NPR thing, and there's nothing wrong with the NPR, but it's like the shorthand where it's like, unpack that. It's like that sort of thing. Like,
yeah. I see exactly what you mean.
Unpack that.
It's like a buzzword. Any kind of buzzwords drive me crazy.
But
buzzword itself, the term buzzword drives me nuts.
There are certain words that come out, and then everybody uses them. Like, so for instance, you had mentioned saying literally.
Literally.
But I'm okay with the English saying it because you said it first and you've always said it. But recently here in America, literally everything is being said literally all the time.
No, literally.
It just comes like how everybody used to say like. It's now, it's...
But then I think maybe it comes round. It starts being overused and not meaning literally, but then maybe it comes around and people start using it. No, literally everyone was singing along to this thing. Like, it's like, when does it sort of turn the corner and come back home to what it really originally
I
meant.
like when the English say it though, because I
I'm
like
fine with-
I like literally.
I'm fine with the English saying it.
Yeah, I like the way
Literally,
it
yeah.
sounds. Literally, because
It's
they
like
say
literature.
literally.
It's literally, yeah, it's too many. It's that L that literally.
Lunch. Literally, we were having lunch.
Oh, that's interesting because you guys don't say lunch any different than we do.
No, I can't tell you why I have a problem with it. It just hits my ear wrong. That's all I can say.
That's what's so great about the worst words.
That line of thought led me to encroach. What are your thoughts on that word?
Oh, I'll tell you, I got thoughts on it. I got a real quick story.
Go on.
I was a football coach, American football.
Yeah.
And I was coaching a little league team, and they jump off sides. So when you jump off sides, the referee throws a flag, and the penalty is encroachment. Encroachment. Growing up, this goes on that using the wrong word. I fucking thought it was approachment. So I was fucking yelling at the referee. That's not approachment. It is not approachment.
No, that's not what I said. You're right.
You're right. It wasn't approachment. It was encroachment.
Follow up. What is approachment, and why are you running towards me?
I know. I was thinking like they approached over the line. I don't know why I always thought it was approachment.
I mean, it's in the same.
But yeah, encroach.
Ballpark. I mean, literally in the same ballpark. But yeah, I think my problem with some of these words is the mouth shapes. So like encroach, it sounds it sounds like somebody stepping on a cockroach. Encroach.
Yeah, I see a cockroach when you say encroach.
Yeah, I think that's it. And
I think you have an issue with I think you're not a big fan of the CH words.
I think so.
Yeah. Loach. What about Loach?
That's not a word.
I know, but
name, isn't it? Ken Loach. He's a director. Yeah, not pumped about it. But then things like peach or like.
Oh, do you like peach?
Yeah, peach good. Peach quite. But then I think it's a connotation. It's like
you're associating it with a sweet treat or a sweet fruit.
Yeah, those are good ones. I like it. I like well thought out ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not moist. Big deal. Moist is boring.
Oh god, that was again. That's like when people catch a cold. It's like I remember hearing that coming up in. I think it must have been podcasts. Like people would and they say moist. Somebody go ew. It's like oh.
Yeah, what? Why? What the
fuck?
fuck?
You don't have to have that response to that word. It's just like.
What's the worst American remake, TV or movie?
Oh, this one I'm not sure if it was supposed to be bad. I just cannot tell. But did you see the Monsters film?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the film?
New one?
Yeah.
The new one?
Yeah.
You watched it?
I did.
I tried to.
Adrian hated it.
And
you mean the one that the guy did?
Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
So all right. So you hated it, Adrian.
It was awful.
So
I enjoyed it because it felt like Rob Zombie was trying to do what the TV show was, and I feel like he was kind of captured. I think he was doing it on purpose, but I don't know either. I mean, it was definitely bad, but I feel like it was purposely bad.
Because I've seen there's that, but since I thought of a response to that like I've seen. Have you heard of a director called Neil Breen?
No.
You got to promise me you will have a look at some trailers of his films.
I know the films, what are...
You won't know the films.
Oh, okay.
But this came up on a podcast that, well, actually, it's going to be out, I think, next week. But I don't think I'd heard of him before. But they are spectacularly. They're just terrible, and I don't understand this dude.
Like Ed Wood kind of stuff.
No, like Ed Wood is Orson Welles compared to I'm baffled. It's like it's not even like a commitment to the bit thing. It's like he is living it, and he's. It's not even like Tommy Wiseau, like the Room type film. It's just have a look at it. It's
just shit.
I don't understand what's happening.
That goes with a lot of shit going on these days, though.
It's just fascinating. But like, so having seen some trailers for his films, that Monsters film actually looks sort of, it's way not as bad as I thought. And I don't hate it. I'm just curious to know, like.
Well, I am, but I just feel like, and I don't even think Rob Zombie's like the greatest filmmaker, but he does have a respect for cinema and movie making. I feel like it must have been a conscious choice. That's my own. That's like what that's just knowing what he knows about movies and making movies in cinema. I feel like that must have been a conscious choice.
Yeah, like going by past evidence. It makes sense.
Who's the worst British talent to break out in America? Oh, I can think of one right now.
Like what the worst sort of like British export?
Yeah.
Maybe tell me yours.
Well, Russell Brand is having a real go right now.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is you. Yeah, absolutely perfect.
And he came on the real hot scene, like he was all U.S. all the way. Like, the U.S. ate him up.
Yeah, but all right. So why do you bring him up now?
Well, because he just got that show. I just watched that documentary that came out on Channel 4.
I was curious to know if you had that. I mean, there's no. Of course, you must have heard about it, but I didn't know if it was.
Yeah, I think that documentary just came out on Channel 4 like last week or something. But I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he was always suspect anyway. But I don't know. Who's the worst cartoon character?
I don't think Family Guy, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
I never watched it. I didn't like it.
I don't know if it's funny. I'm not sure. It's like I know it's meant to be funny. I know Seth MacFarlane is supposed to be funny, but I think when it came out, it had this feeling of like, oh, this is weird. This is like, it's quite subversive. It's quite cool. And then after a while, it just kind of it's like, oh, right, X minus Y divided by this equals Family Guy gag. It was very
That is that show, Married with Children.
Yeah.
In a human form.
Okay.
That was what Family Guy was. Yes, absolutely. Same thing. All right, let's hit your favorites real quick then.
Go on.
Favorite professional wrestler?
I mean, when I was a kid, I watched. There was like English wrestling, which was a whole different. It was just messy and ugly and like sweaty and it just old guys just grappling and pawing at each other. It's horrible. And then there was a guy called Big Daddy. He was like the main wrestler, Big Daddy, and there's a guy called Giant Haystacks. They're the two I remember. Probably, I mean, the ones that I know, like I think Undertaker was interesting to me because he was just a weird character presence in the ring and just like a sort of there's something going on there. It's like a dark cartoon character, like a sort of like old Batman, like the really dark sketchy Batman sort of thing.
Favorite DJ?
Oh, you bloody bastard. I think, I mean, just for the sake of like picking one, D Styles. I think D Styles is incredible. When you watch D Styles, you can he can do something that sounds basic, but it's just it just like works for me in my brain somehow. It's just like it's so the way he cuts up a sentence. It's like he cuts it up in exactly the right way somehow. So he's the king favorite. I mean, then it's like, obviously like Q-Bert, it's kind of obvious, like Dibs for sure. Babu similar to D Styles in that he's just very funky, and it's just like a dumb word to use, but it's
and it's similar to when I do favorites too, because I'll think of one favorite and then I'll be like, but then.
yeah. Yeah, it's like me saying that one person suddenly, like all the rest are completely forgotten from history. But no, yeah, I think D Styles. Like
D Styles is a good answer. Favorite comedian?
Like Jimmy Pardo is one of my favorites. There's a podcast he does called Never Not Funny. I've just been listening to it for years, and I've got a real like affinity with all the people on there, and they always talk about like how they picked a really terrible name like from the start. But it's and they have a lot of like really good people on there. But yeah, I mean, like Jimmy Pardo is like, he's really quick. He's really good at crowd work, and just sort of it's a very sort of quick brain.
Favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
I think I'm not going to go Terminator. I think The Predator, because it comes from a music thing. It's like I think there were quite a lot of samples in there that were used on old jungle and drum and bass tracks.
Favorite BBC or Channel 4 show of all time?
EastEnders. It was on the same day every week, and then they introduced a new day, which was like, oh, it's on Monday as well, cool. And then it was introduced, so it's basically on every day of the week. And
it's a soap opera.
Yeah. And I don't know what it was. I think it was just because I started watching it when I was so young, and I loyally watched it for years, like decades. And I mean, I fell off eventually, but so you'd watch it in the week, and then on Sunday they'd have the omnibus, which is like all of the episodes combined just to fill time in the schedule, and I'd watch those as well. So it was just like one of these kind of like, it's almost like a meditation. There wasn't any big surprises, or there weren't any sort of, well, you'd get these revelations and cliffhangers and stuff, but
it was consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it did stuff within the world that was like, oh my God, but it didn't do anything like, what the fuck? It wasn't like outrageous or outlandish.
All right, last one. Favorite cereal?
Frosted Shreddies is what I'm going to go with.
Well, yeah. Again, I've really enjoyed the chat with you. I apologize that we went on longer, but I feel like we were good on time. So
yeah,
if someone hadn't heard your music before, what would you send them? What would be the best thing to start them with?
Yeah, probably that Buddy, Muddy, and Wolf thing.
Now listen, peoples. Everybody said they don't like the blues, but you wrong.
So it's similar to the Miles Davis one, but it's just like 20-minute condensed megamix of Muddy Waters album and Howlin' Wolf album.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I did with that were like, it came out kind of exactly how I wanted it to, and that's sort of what I'm all about, I think. So like that's like one of my favorite things.
Where do you most want people to consume your music?
Bandcamp. That's always a good spot. I mean, that's where I'm going to be putting up most of the new stuff. I have a Patreon. It's quite low key, and I put up sort of weird projects from the past and sort of test runs of stuff. So like, there's things I'm working on now that I've been putting up a few sort of like test runs of things on there. But I'd say Bandcamp is the most sort of current place for things, and that's where I'll put, if I consider something finished, it will go on Bandcamp.
What can we expect from you in the next year, for the next 5 years? What can people look out for?
Oh boy, 5-year plan. But definitely the Meter Maids album. Sorry, the Meter Maids album is my poor British pronunciation. Meter maids. I don't know. Otherwise, like, I mean, I've got loads of these plans and things like that, and there's loads of stuff that I wish I could do quicker. But I think that there's going to be a lot more mixes. There's going to be loads of like a lot of beats. I'm working on a few. There's a few. Actually, there are a few projects coming up. There's one with this. There's a rapper called, or he's an artist. But he's called Remy Ruff. He's this like he does this kind of like crazy futuristic graffiti stuff in the UK. So yeah, we're messing with a bit of stuff.
Will you be bringing back the? I guess you're gonna have to call them something else, but the bag lunch sessions.
Oh, I mean, that's weird as well because there was a stage when I was all about that, and I still really enjoy it. But I mean, I just don't do it as much, if I'm really honest. Like the way I work and the way I make beats is really different. And I feel like that was very much of the time.
Right.
That's how I made beats then. It was just sort of like...
That was cool, though. They're cool. We were talking about them in the intro. I think people should check them out.
Thanks. I'm definitely really proud of those. I mean, I wanted them all to be like... There's something a bit awkward about them, and like whether it's how I was sitting or like what I was wearing. I don't know. It's like...
Even just location, like it's weird to get music... Like, to see you, if you're not someone that understands making beats or even knows about it, it's weird to see someone sit down in the middle of somewhere with a machine and suddenly producing a beat. There's something very cool about that. The settings are very different than what you're hearing. I thought they were cool.
Oh, thank you. I mean, maybe I should do some more. I mean, there's definitely some I could do around here in Margate. Like when the tide's out, you can go out for a really long way and you can do some crazy shit out there, I think. And it's also
but you can't call them bag lunch sessions. Is that what they were called, bag lunch?
Yeah, I think it was just because it was like it was when I was.
Because you have to eliminate the lunch.
Oh God! Oh, I didn't think of that.
That's why I was saying, yeah, you got to eliminate the lunch.
Yeah, I think I don't. When I was making them, I never actually used that. I never said the name out loud. It would always be typed, so I wouldn't actually have to say.
You ruined it for him.
I know.
Oh shit! All right, fish and chip sessions. I don't know.
Oh, that's cool. Fish and chip sessions.
Something.
Especially if you're doing it out there when the tide goes out.
Yeah, that's actually cool. Totally. That's a cool concept.
Yeah, maybe that's the one. And actually, there are some really cool. Like, there's a lot of coast to work with as well. So when the tide goes out, there was some really odd spots to go in. So yeah, maybe. I think I just need to get back in that mindset because like that was a very specific time creatively, and like as I say, like the technology's changed, my way of thinking has changed, but I can still probably do.
And I don't think present's coming back, right?
I was thinking that the other day. It's like, should I do that next year? And it's like, my girlfriend's probably going, no, do not do that.
Do you have final words for the people?
Oh God. It's just so silly. It's like when it comes to that, like I completely lock up because there's so much to say. I mean, definitely like keep listening to the DOD45 because it's. I mean, like I've experimented with quite a few hip hop podcasts, and they're all. I mean, the ones I listen to are like really. I like them a lot, but like I feel like your one is there's a real life to it, and there's a real. I've used this word a lot, but like soul, and I mean there's a more of a it's not just like right, greatest 5 MCs of all time, go like.
We almost rarely talk about hip hop on the show.
I think that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
because it's
we talk with hip hop artists, but. The idea was always like you'll find out about a person by just having a conversation with them. Conversation is like what I'm most intrigued by, and the hip hop is just the conduit for the people I want to talk to because their music was playing while you guys' music was playing while I'm drawing. So
and also it's like that. What's a safe place as a guest about it is that like we can talk about regular stuff. But then when we start talking about hip hop, it's like there isn't. No, who's that? It's like you know who we're talking about, and there's that shorthand that we haven't got to sort of give the explanation of who that is and what that song was about, and that kind of stuff. Continue listening, follow what you're doing artistically and as people. It'd be cool if people listen to what I do and what I've got coming out. That's hugely appreciated. But I think it's one thing I heard in a podcast recently was just about like being a fan, and I'm trying to get better at being a fan and like an appreciator of work and art and that kind of stuff, because art is it's so easy to like not have in your diet, I think, but when it is in your diet you know it, and it just makes things run better, I think. Cool.
All right, everybody, well, thanks again.
Thank you. We did it.
Usually just log out from here, so if you have anything final you want to mention, otherwise we'll disconnect.
Just thank you so much. Like, I've been really looking forward to this, and it didn't disappoint. It was a real pleasure. So I really appreciate the time out of your days and lives, and
well, thank you, because I was really looking forward to having a chat with you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
you too. Yeah. Thanks so much, guys.
Okay, have a great rest of your. Have a good sleep.
Thank
what
you.
do they say over there? We say don't let the bed bugs. What do we say, Adrian? Here. Good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Do you guys have a term?
We don't, but in Laos you'd say nan lap van di, which means something about sweet dreams, or see you in your dreams or something.
See you in hell.
Yeah, sucker.
Yeah. All right, sweet dreams.
Nan lap van di.
Thanks, buddy. Okay,
cool.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Wrap it quick.
Yeah, sorry.
You don't have to mention all the things you always mention. They're already there. Just DOD45 on Instagram, right?
Yep.
YouTube.
Get the books. Inktober is happening right now. Happy October 25th.
Happy Halloween.
Stay the hell away from Twitter. DOD45.coms and socials. You know them. Art by Ty and DOD45W. That's it. Thank you so much for the chat, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. From all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy drawing, happy conversing, and thanks for conspiring with us. We out of here. Peace.
DOD45.
Thank you for joining in on yet another episode of the DOD45 Show. Please hit the subscribe or follow button so that you never miss an episode. You can even go one step further by leaving us a review on the YouTube stream or on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever it is that you stream our show from. You can find me at Art by Ty on all the socials or at artbyty.com. And if you'd like to follow the DOD45 Show on social media, we're at DOD45W on Instagram, or you can go over to our website at DOD45.com, where you can shoot us an email, join our mailing list, and watch all of our past episodes. Consider joining us for a live chat on the YouTube premieres of episodes every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace.